far more lies, deceptions, and propaganda than at any time in the past. When it comes to the reporting of news by journalistic and pseudo-journalistic sources, we may be experiencing a return to an unapologetically non-objective news media following a fairly short-lived period in which objective journalism has been the expectation, at least in those countries where media is not under direct government control. It was not until the 1920s that modern analytical procedures and fairness became the norm for journalism, as before that time, essentially all sources of news reflected one partisan point of view or another, making no pretense at being objective in their reportage of news and events. A return to that older model may be inevitable in a world in which journalism has been so consistently savaged in pursuit of political and financial goals that the entire concept of objective journalism has come to be regarded as, at best, a failed experiment, or, at worst, a joke. There is also the growing recognition that the most profitable sources of news and opinion, whether giant cable news networks or lone YouTube political commentators, are highly partisan and frequently strident. In an unaired interview conducted in 2019, Dutch historian Rutger Bregman accused a popular cable news personality of being a millionaire funded by billionaires. While the accusation infuriated the program's host, from an entirely cynical, money-driven perspective, it is a fair question to ask how many aspiring journalists, pundits, or online celebrities would choose to go broke reporting the objective truth, or at least something as close to the objective truth as imperfect human beings can get, for the benefit of the few when it is possible to get rich being unobjectively partisan to the delight of the millions. It was the furor over fake news that arose during the U.S. elections of 2016 that inspired me to write Fake News, Propaganda, and Plain Old Lies: How to Find Trustworthy Information in the Digital Age, a book that was published in mid-2018. In Fake News, Propaganda, and Plain Old Lies, I tried to take an objective, at least as close as I could get to objective, approach to evaluating the credibility of information. In the opening chapter of that book, I related the story of a young man who walked into Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C., while carrying a rifle. Operating entirely on uncredible information, the young man had come in search of a child sex ring allegedly run by Hillary Clinton and other leaders of the U.S. Democratic Party. The would-be hero ended up firing 3 harmless shots before being arrested and taken to jail. That all seems like a very long time ago. I signed the contract for the book you are listening to now in December 2019. While I was writing it, a few noteworthy events unfolded right before the eyes of the world, events that make the Comet Pizza fiasco look like a bit of slapstick comedy. The first noteworthy event was the COVID-19 pandemic and the massive reaction against credible information it set off. A virus, a sub-microscopic infectious agent, was politicized almost from the moment it was discovered, as was every bit of the scientific information that was shared about the, I repeat, sub-microscopic infectious agent. Even as I write this, in June 2021, there remains a significant movement to deny the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines, despite the overwhelming evidence that the vaccines are not only safe, but also are even more effective than public health experts had predicted. The title of a multi-author opinion piece published in the December 2020 issue of the Journal of the Association for Information Science and Technology sums up the situation most precisely. Global health crises are also information crises. For the record, I caught the COVID-19 virus in December 2020, was sick at home for 3 weeks, and consider myself to have gotten off easy. I got vaccinated.